Welcome back to Drafting with Mark, and in this video we're going to take a look at doing this with some dimensions on it. And I decided that I'm going to use paper space when I go to put this on a title block. Now just keep in mind that I've already drawn this in a previous video, so if you want to create this one, and it shouldn't take you that long to create it, just go ahead and create this one, and then we're going to go ahead and do the dimensions for this one. And remember that we're going to be using paper space. Okay, so here in AutoCAD, you should already have your normal stuff set up if you watched the previous video, meaning that the grid is turned off. I'm still using the ortho mode, and these are my current running O-snaps that I've used. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is that when you are dealing with paper space, the best thing I like to do is normally go ahead and set up how my paper space is going to look. Now, I know this is a millimeter drawing or metric drawing. I'm not going to shrink this one down or do any of the other stuff that I would normally do and convert this over the inches. I'm just going to go ahead and put this millimeter drawing on an imperial title block. Alright, so I'm just going to jump over here to the layout tab. Then I'm going to create a title block like I would normally do, right? So this is something that you would probably have saved off somewhere and you would insert it in, but I'm just going to create a 11 by 17 title block. So I'm just going to start with the rectangle. I'm going to type in the lower left corner, which is 0, 0, enter, and then I'm going to type in 17, 11. And that's going to be my title block. Now when we hit the zoom extents, you should see that rectangle. Let's go ahead and do an offset. 0.25 is going to be the offset thickness to the paper. Alright, now the reason we do this offset, this is just the setting you some guidelines for your printer. Anytime you print something, you very rarely are going to be able to print to this if you're printing to a true B-size drawing. So therefore, we usually offset a distance to the inside just to give that room for that printer to print. Alright, so next I have, this is my viewport, right? Let's go ahead and adjust my title block just so I can make sure that is correct. I'm just going to select them both and hit the create button here. I'll go ahead and name this TB. Go ahead and hit OK. Alright, the beauty thing about anytime you're doing things in paper space versus model space, I don't have to worry about setting up so much stuff, and I'll leave it at that on this one. We'll allow the viewport to do a lot of that work for us. So with the viewport here, I'm going to select it, and then I'm just going to select and put this one at the corner here, and then I'll move this one at the corner here. Alright, next I'm just going to double click on the inside of my viewport. Now this one, my drawing is sitting up and it's vertical. I'm just going to go ahead and rotate this laying down. So I'm going to select my object that I have created here. Let's go ahead and rotate. Let's pick a base point somewhere around here and rotate it 90 degrees like so. Alright. Now what I need to do is kind of zoom the extents of it. So I'm just going to double click with my middle mouse wheel, or you can select this button here. Either one is going to work, right? Now what I can do now is I can start adjusting this the way I want it to be. Meaning that I can kind of play around with some of these numbers just to see if it's correct, right? I can go to see what a 1 to 20 looks like. And 1 to 20 looks like that's just about the right size for us. We can also take a look at 1 to 25. We don't have that one, so we can create it. And I can show you how to create that one really quick here. So I'm just going to go down to where it says customize. I'm going to select the 1 to 20. I'll go ahead and go to add. 1:25. Then underneath my drawing units, I'll just simply change that to 25. And then hit OK and close. Alright, so now we have the 1 to 20. Let me take a look at the 1 to 25, and you see that moves it back a little bit further. So it looks like the 1 to 20 is going to be kind of what we need. Alright. Let's go ahead and adjust this white part of this drawing just so it can fit our title block, right? So let me double click on the outside here just to get me out of the viewport. I'm going to go to this blue layout tab here at the top, and then I'm going to select Page Setup Manager. When I have this set up, I'm just going to go to Modify, and then I'm going to select in the drop down here DWG to PDF. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the paper size to ANSI Full Bleed B 17 by 11. I'm going to tell it that I'm dealing with the extents. I'm going to center it. And then we're going to leave this sitting at 1 to 1. Go ahead and hit OK. And then close. Alright, so now our drawing is created here. It's in paper space. Everything is fine. Let's jump back to the modeling tab here real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and put on the center marks, right? Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the extension lines on my center. So center EXE. Go ahead and hit enter. And like with metric drawings, I usually like to set that number to either 3 or 5. I'll kind of leave that up to you. Let's do 5 for this one. Underneath the annotate option, I'm going to go to center mark. I'm going to click here. And then here. And then I'm just going to draw a regular line going from those two endpoints. So a line going from this endpoint to this endpoint. Go ahead and hit escape. Let's take a look and use match properties. I'm going to select the source first, which is going to be this center mark. And then I'm going to select my line here in the middle. So that's just one of those shortcut things in order to transform your line types to whatever line type you want to match it to. Alright, so this is all I'm going to do in model space here. Normally, I like to put my dimensions on the outside in paper space, although you see some people that will put their dimensions here in the model tab. But I like to put mine in the layout or in paper space. So I'm just going to jump back to the layout tab. Next, I'm going to go in and set my dimension style, right? So in this drop down here, I'm going to select this first icon here. Once this appears, and I can use either one of these, and it does not matter when we're using paper space, so I'll just leave it on standard. I'm going to go to modify. Once the other one appears, we're going to start with the primary units tab. I'm just going to tell it to go ahead and suppress the trailing. Underneath the fit, leave this set to 1. Underneath my text tab here, I'm just going to leave this height. I have plenty of room, so the dimensions are going to be a little bit larger than normal. And then underneath this symbols and arrows, I'm just going to turn my center marks to none. Go ahead and hit OK, and then close. Alright, you can automatically see that my line types are adjusted here in paper space. So if I jump back to model space real quick, you're going to see them being micro small. But the minute I jump back in the layout tab, they're already adjusted to the right size and right scale that I need. Alright, let's go ahead and put our dimensions on. So basic dimensions. I'm just going to throw a linear dimension going right across from here to here. I'm going to add another dimension, so another linear dimension, just from this endpoint to this endpoint. Alright, let's go ahead and put our radial dimensions on. So I'm going to go to radial dimensions. I'll select this arc here. Go ahead and place the dimension here. I'm going to go back to the radial one and select this dimension, or this arc here. Let's go ahead and use a diameter dimension, which is going to be this circle here. Alright, and we do have one more radius, and I just not noticed it. It's the big one in the front. So let's go ahead and add that radial dimension here. Alright, well, let's go ahead and modify this one because we have this arc in 2 places. So I'm just going to double click it. I usually like to hit the home tab on my keyboard to take me to the front. I'm just going to type in 2x. Okay. Kind of take a look over the drawing, and I think that's about all we need for this one. So yes, short and sweet and easy and simple just to do your dimensions. Just remember that anytime you're dealing with paper space, you don't have to do a lot of stuff. It's really designed for this. So this is how most of your 3D software or parametric drafting softwares work. They work on the concept of using some kind of paper space or layout tabs with viewports and things of that nature, right? But there's absolutely nothing wrong in AutoCAD by doing it the other way. One of the main reasons I like to put my dimensions on the outside here is, as you can see, it alleviates all the stuff that I have to do in the dimension style. It really makes it super simple for me. If I was going to put those dimensions in the model space tab, then I would have to use the scale that this is set to. So if I jump back over to here, I'm going to have to adjust this to whatever the scale is on the outside. And maybe I should show you that, just one dimension going forward here. So if I was going to put a dimension here, remember that we zoom the extents on the outside here, and I'm going to double click on the inside of here, and it's set to 1 to 20. So if I was going to do a dimension with that exact same size out here, I would have to set this to 1 to 20. I would have to also make sure that I'm using the right style, which is going to be the annotative one. Let me go ahead and adjust one thing in my dimension style here. So I'll select that icon. Annotative is my current style. Just going to go to modify. And then I'm going to go to the primary units tab and suppress the trailing zeros and hit OK. And then close. Alright, so if I was going to do that here, I will put my linear dimension, and I'm putting it here along the bottom so you can see the difference when I go back out to the layout tab. So I'll have to adjust this scale here just so I make sure that they match here, right? So it's going to be very important that you have to set up the dimension style or the annotation scale, or however you're planning on doing it, if you're going to do it in the model space tab. If you're doing it in the layout tab, it's really taken care of for you. All right, so I hope you kind of enjoyed that a little bit and gave you a little bit more background on doing dimensions. And maybe I might do another video where I'm covering if you are going to do your dimensions and you want to use the paper space style of title block. I'll cover that in another video, how you can put your dimensions on the inside. But that's just a glimpse, and you can see that it's really simple. You just got to make sure you be careful on knowing what scale that you have. All right, so I want to thank you for watching this one, and enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.